Good day. This is a book reflection on the Witness of Charity, Chapter 7, Part 1. And similar to the other videos, some of the ideas come from the book and some of the ideas come from myself as I read the book. When we think of God's love, we think often of mercy. And throughout the four Gospels, Jesus gives us many examples of being merciful. And this is really what we are to follow. Now, sometimes there might be a tendency or a temptation to say, you know what, God is so merciful, I'm just going to live the life I want. Just anything goes. But that's cheapening God's mercy, and it really doesn't make sense, because if we truly know that God loves us, then we want to love our neighbor as ourselves. As an example, let's just say you have a grandma, and she likes to bake you your favorite cookies every week. She compliments you and encourages you anytime that she sees you. She's always there to listen to you when you have different problems. And she's always willing to lend you a helping hand. Now, it wouldn't make any sense to just go up to your grandma and just kick her in the shins or tell her off. It even seems like bizarre to hear that or to say that, and yet that's bizarre. And so it's the same with God. Knowing that God is even more loving than our most perfect grandmas makes us want to be the best that we can be. And the best we can be is to respond to this love with love. Now, when we think of mercy, I like to define mercy in two different ways. The first way is that emotion that inspires action and is beneficial towards the recipient. So for example, we could be walking down the street and we may see a homeless person. There may be a slight emotion of despair that fuels or that burns within our own hearts, and it makes us go over to the homeless person and take them out for a coffee or take them for something to eat. And so we have that emotion leading to an action that's beneficial for the recipient. Another way to define mercy, which is quite similar, is the act of compassion towards another. That is to say, to put yourself in the other person's shoes and then to respond accordingly. And so we recognize as Christian people, each and every time we go to Mass, we recognize first that we need God's mercy. And then we ask for God's mercy, and then we have to give God's mercy to others. So it's kind of like somebody gives us a gift, and then the first thing I want to do is to ponder, who can I give this gift to? Now, I remember a few years ago being at a prison in the United States, and there was a woman. She had been incarcerated for 21 years, and she had an opportunity to go before the court to get out of prison. But of course, this was going to be quite an expensive endeavor. She was going to have to pay legal fees. But she had $10,000 in the bank, which is likely going to be just about enough to cover the legal fees. So one day her friend popped by and said to her, she said, "I have to tell you that I spent all your money." And I'm thinking to myself, you're one shot to get out and it just goes out the window. But she said to me, "I have to forgive my friend. I've been asking people for 21 years to forgive me. I certainly have to forgive my friend." Now, this woman recognized in her own heart she needed God's mercy. She also wanted to ask for that mercy, and then she gave the mercy to her friend. And we are to do that. And sometimes the people who have asked for the greatest of mercy, or who are in need of that great mercy, are the ones who are merciful themselves, because we've lived that experience and we want to show that to others. Now, as the church, we're to hold a high standard. We are to hold mercy as a great gift. So it's kind of like, it's back to that expression, hate the sin, love the sinner. Is that what the church needs to do, and it really follows the example of Jesus, is we have to challenge people's sin or their sinful actions. That part we can challenge. we can call people to task, yet we have to hold the person with great mercy. We hold that person with tenderness and care. Because a lot of times, people will not respond when we yell and scream at them. But when we challenge them and we hold them in mercy, hopefully that can raise them to new life, and hopefully that will encourage them to be better human beings, to be better responders of God's love.